Hey guys, what's up? Happy Wednesday. Hopefully, everybody is having a happy hump day and is getting ready to enjoy, hopefully, some form of lunch. If you're on the East Coast, if you're on the Pacific Coast, I think it's a little bit too early, so maybe you're having breakfast. Either way, hope you're having a badass day. All month long, we've been talking about self esteem and how it affects your health. I think a lot of times people don't think about self-esteem and how it affects someone's health, and most often we just look at someone and we typecast them, right? Either they're fat or overweight or obese or whatever you want to call it, or they're skinny or anorexic or they need to eat a hamburger. Whatever it is, we typecast people. And yesterday we talked about, self-esteem and overeating, and today I want to talk about self-esteem and the effects of undereating. So for those who don't know me, my name is Shannon Wooten. I am a Beachbody health and lifestyle coach. I believe that healthy habits create happy humans, and I believe that healthy behaviors make for a happier life. So self-esteem is a huge part of our health. I know personally firsthand, if you haven't seen my live videos on the reason why self-esteem has affected me, jump on over to Life with Shannon and check it out. In short, I struggle with infertility, and so it kind of took me on this downward spiral with my self-esteem where I basically lost all semblance of myself and forgot who I was, or lost who I was, whatever you want to say. Anyway, self-esteem, it can affect our stress levels. It affected mine. It can stress our body image levels. It affected mine. And it can affect the reasonings for your depression. If you're struggling from depression, it affected mine. Which can also affect how we eat. And as I said, we talked about overeating yesterday. We're talking about undereating today. In my opinion, overeating and undereating they're not separate. They're basically a different side of the same coin. And both can be the result of emotional stress or just stress in general, overworking, family life, bills, life in general. They can result from stress and overeating and undereating. Same coin, different sides. And I think everyone has had a time in their life where they've struggled with the effects of overeating. So if you didn't see the video yesterday, a little point that I talked about in the video was overeating can be the result of many things. And one of the things is eating just for the sake of eating. And if you're feeling, like you're struggling with stress or depression, trying to overcompensate or fill that emotional void that you have with food. And as if you watched the video, if you didn't, sorry for repeating myself, or if you're new and you're catching up, whatever, that void that you have, that emotional void, is not ever going to be filled with food. It needs to be filled in an emotional sense. You got to figure it out. So eating for the sake of eating, as I said, or eating your feelings when you're stressed or you're sad, those can be signs of overeating. But as I said, it's two sides of the same coin. It can be the same result of undereating. I am very familiar with undereating. That is the type of stress that I try and fill my emotional tank with, not eating. So when I'm stressed or I'm busy, I forget to eat. When I was going through my struggles with infertility, and I also have IBS, one of the ways that I dealt with that was by not eating. With my IBS, where that's concerned, I didn't eat because I was too afraid of the repercussions I was going to have with the stuff I was putting in my face, how my body was going to act, if I was going to have explosive situations. Sorry if that's TMI. With regards to my infertility, I underate because my stress was so high that I felt like I couldn't eat. I felt like there was an empty pit in my stomach, and if I filled it with something, I was going to be sick. And so, like I said, I'm familiar with undereating. And it reminds me of that meme that I've seen a lot of people post, about the girl who forgets to eat and the other girl wants to slap her in the face. I guess I'd be getting a whole lot of face slapping because that is how I cope with my stress. I'm aware of it now, and I know how to deal with it. But for anybody else out there that thinks, I don't know if I'm an undereater, as I mentioned a few moments ago, overeating and undereating are not separate. They're just different sides of the same coin. So yesterday we talked about the 5 emotional signs of overeating. I want to show you how those two things correlate to each other, overeating and undereating. So point number 1 was you're eating when you're not hungry. So the other side to that is you're ignoring your hunger. If you're an undereater, you're ignoring your hunger. And hunger is a sign that our body gives to us. It's a calling card. It's like, hello, I'm hungry. I need you to eat the things. I need some nourishment down here in the belly. And not eating when our bodies need it is a sign that we could be struggling with emotional stress. And ignoring our hunger is is maybe could be the potential sign that something else is going on in our lives. So if you're not eating when you're hungry and you're ignoring your hunger, you need to think about, what is it that is making me not want to eat? If you know you haven't eaten anything all day and your body is saying, maybe I should be eating something, or you're feeling a little bit nauseous, and you go for the idea of not eating because you're dealing with stress, you need to figure that out. Number 2 was you have food FOMO. So with overeating, FOMO means the fear of missing out. So with overeating, it's, somebody else is eating, I should probably be eating something too. I don't know, maybe I should eat that thing. Not sure. But with undereating, it's you avoid your hunger. So FOMO is applying a emotional attachment to food. If you're looking at it in the sense of, okay, I'm an overeater and I'm afraid I'm not going to be able to taste that delicious chocolate candy ever again. I don't know why you feel that way, but maybe you do. And you're saying, okay, that is that feeling of stress that I may never have it, and I need it for some reason. Undereating is also applying the same emotional feeling, but telling yourself that you don't need it. And you're ignoring those feelings of, I don't have the FOMO because I don't want to eat. I'm too overworked. I'm too stressed out. I don't want to fill that void because that void is too great. You don't know what it means, and you're afraid that if by feeding it, it's going to make you feel nauseous, or it's just going to make you not feel good, which doesn't make sense. Which leads us into point number 3. You don't want other people to know what you eat. So with overeating, it could be that you're eating the wrong things and you're hiding what you're eating and you feel guilty about it. When we hide things, it's like an admission of guilt. It's like saying you're doing a baddie, you need to do a goodie, but you can't get over that baddie, so you keep repeating that behavior. With undereating, it could mean the very same things. If you're eating but one time a day and you're having a candy bar, or you're going to the vending machine to get your source of food, or you're going to a fast food restaurant and you're hiding it, you're doing something that's not good for you. There's that admission of guilt. There's that feeling that there's an acknowledgement to your bad behavior. So with undereating, if you're not eating enough, you're going to be losing energy. If you feel like you're overweight and you're eating but one time a day, you're still starving yourself. If stress is the issue, if there's an emotional void that you're trying to fill, whether you're thin or you're overweight, doing something and hiding it it's an admission of guilt to yourself. Hey, Connie. And the feeling that we get of goodness that I talked about comes from doing good things. So for me, myself, as I said before, one of the things that I went through with my undereating in dealing with my infertility was I would eat one time a day. And mostly, as I said, it was due to my IBS. I was unsure of how my body was going to react when I was at work, so I just didn't feel like dealing with that shit. I didn't feel like not knowing what was going to happen, having to run out of a meeting, to deal with what was going on in the bathroom. Or also my stress was so bad. I was going to the doctors every day, and I was always wondering, is it going to be a positive today? Am I going to be pregnant today? And when it wasn't, I couldn't eat. That stress just ate me up. Like, what the hell am I doing wrong? I'm doing everything they're telling me to do, and nothing is panning out the way I want it. So then I wouldn't eat. My stress became so much that I forgot to eat. I didn't eat because my emotions were so high, and that was the exact wrong thing to do. To boot, when I came home and I ate my one meal a day, which was dinner, I overate. I ate a huge portion, and then I had like 2 glasses of wine with every dinner. Now, I know some people are going to come back and maybe say, there's articles that say a glass of wine a day or 2 glasses of wine a day are good for you and all that jazz, and that's probably true if you're eating a proportionate size and enough every day, all day long. I wasn't. I was eating one time a day to cope with my stress, to cope with my feelings of discomfort and the knots that I had in my stomach, because I was a stressed mess. And that leads to point number 4. So we said point number 4 yesterday with overeating is you feel guilty when you eat. So conversely, the side of that with undereating is you feel sick or a feeling of discomfort when you eat. Like I just said, every time I would eat, because my stress level was so high and I wasn't dealing with it, I wasn't dealing with my emotional turmoil that I was going through with IBS and infertility, every time I ate, it was like my stomach was just turning, just being turned into knots. And I felt terrible about it. I felt discomfort. My stomach became bloated. A plethora of things happened. And again, food is nourishment. Your body needs it. Your body needs it to give you energy to keep going. And if you feel sick about eating, it's a sign. You shouldn't feel sick about eating. Your body is a machine. It needs food to keep going. So like a car. If you have a car, all my car peeps out there, and you give your car the wrong fuel, your car eventually, over a period of time, is going to start to run haphazardly. It's going to need to go for a checkup. It's going to need to, have the engine looked at. It's not going to operate in prime condition. I feel strangely weird eating while watching this. Don't feel weird. You need to eat. This is about undereating. So if you're eating, you're doing the right thing, Les. You're doing the right thing. So back to the car example. If you're giving your body the wrong fuel, if you're giving the car the wrong fuel, the car eventually is going to run bad. It's eventually going to need to go to the auto mechanic or the doctor, because you're a human. You go to a doctor. And if you're undereating and your body is starving, it's telling you it needs energy. The more that we go on in a perpetual cycle of not acknowledging our stress, our depression, our emotions, and we compensate, whether it's overeating or undereating, your body's going to start to give you signals. For me, it gave me, good, yeah, Connie eating a snack. For me, it was my hair started to fall out. And my skin, I started to get something called cystic fibroid tumors on my skin, which I thought were pimples, and I kept trying to pop them, and they worked. And I had to go to the dermatologist. And when I went to the dermatologist, because I'm very blessed to have thick hair my whole life, I didn't put two and two together. I wasn't eating enough, and when I was eating, I wasn't eating the right things. And so when I went to the dermatologist, she was like, basically what she said to me was, if this is what the outside of your body is doing, imagine what the inside of your body looks like. That was like a huge, whoa, big, bright, shining light on me. I wanted to cut myself open, figuratively, and just look at everything, because I could only imagine. My hair was falling out and my skin was breaking out. That never happened to me in my whole life. And it was because I wasn't doing the right things. And the right thing that I needed to do was acknowledge my emotional stress. Stop pretending like everything was fine, because it very clearly wasn't. My hair was falling out. My skin was a hell of a mess. And stop eating but one time a day, and start to understand my body instead of trying to defy it. I was so freaked out by my emotions, so freaked out by my low self-esteem, so freaked out by my depression that I tried to avoid it. That made it worse. That did not make it better. So that takes us to point number 5. You are not friends with your body. So yesterday when we talked about overeating, we talked about instances where people can gain weight because they're eating the wrong things. They're overeating. They're just kind of shoveling it in, eating for the sake of eating, we said, just because it's there. And on that side, you become potentially overweight. You become potentially unhealthy, and you develop this negative body image. You start to become not friends with your own body. And doesn't that sound crazy? It sounded crazy to me. How can I not like myself? I am myself. It was the craziest thing. And once my dermatologist said to me, if this is how your body's reacting on the outside, imagine the shitstorm that's going on the inside. And that light bulb came on. I realized I didn't like myself. I didn't like my body because it wasn't making me pregnant. I didn't like my body because I was struggling with IBS my whole life. I didn't like my body because my hair was falling out. My skin was a mess. My emotions were out of control. I had no control. And the minute that I realized that, I needed to stop defying what was happening to me and start understanding it and start realizing that I wasn't putting good things into my body. I wasn't eating healthily. I wasn't taking care of myself. The more I started to become friends with my body, because I was starting to do the right thing. So the other side of that, for overeating, we said point 5 was you're not friends with your body. The other side of it for undereating is you're not friends with your body. As I said, it's two sides of the same coin. They're really not separate. It's just different circumstances. And people can fluctuate between overeating and undereating. And knowingly, whether you are knowingly or not starving your body, and trying to numb your emotions by not eating, which is what I did too, a negative body image can develop. And we judge ourselves by our actions after that. We judge ourselves by our body after that and starve ourselves from nutrients it needs to heal and get better. Sometimes, including myself, we think that, okay, if I don't eat, maybe I'll get thinner. Wrong. Or if I don't eat, then maybe I'll feel better. Wrong. But these things are both wrong if you think that you're wrong. And I was wrong too, which is fine. We'll be wrong together, but we'll learn together that if you eat healthy and you eat the right things, as I said, back to the car, example, your body is going to start to run better. It is going to start to do better. But if you spend a long amount of time, or even a short long, and what I mean by short long is 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years, if you spend any amount of time that's over 21 days indulging in terrible behavior and not treating yourself right, not eating right, not exercising, and not paying attention to what's going on in here, your body is now used to that. There you go. Your body is now saying, this is normal behavior. I'm only going to eat 1 time a day, so I better hold on to all my food and all my fat. I'm only going to eat 1 time a day, and it's going to be something that's not great for me. So I'm going to slow my metabolism down, and I'm going to hold on to that food and all that fat. Point is, it takes 21 days to establish a habit. When I decided, after my dermatologist told me that if this is what your outside looks like, imagine what your inside looks like, and totally blew my mind, that I was going to change my cycle. I was going to start learning what it meant to eat clean, which does not mean dieting, by the way. I was going to learn the right exercises to do for my body, which means what I like to do and what I was not going to give up on. And reading books like this. Yes, that says fuck feelings. It's a play on words. So it's a play on words. But reading books to help get my mind right, that it was going to take time. So what happened was, after 3 weeks of eating right, exercising, and reading personal development, I did not feel good. I didn't feel good. I went to the doctor, I told him what I was doing, and I showed him my Shakeology, which I'm drinking right now. And I showed him the little packet because he knows my history. He knows I have IBS. He knew I was struggling with infertility. And he said, everything you're doing by rights is going to take time to make you feel better. This is not going to be an immediate fix. You've put the damage in on your body. You're now going to need to put the work in to change the pattern. So after he said, continue doing what you're doing all the right things. It's going to take time to change. So I continued on. And after 6 weeks of doing that, let me tell you, in between day 1 and the last day of 6 weeks, I had headaches. I had stomach cramps, bloating, diarrhea, indigestion, all things that I was used to having, so really couldn't get much worse. And after 6 weeks, I had stopped taking my Prilosec every single day, twice a day, to combat the acid reflux I had from my IBS. I stopped with my infertility treatments because it was basically ruining myself, my whole self. And that was a personal choice. I want to put that in there. And I also minimized the amount of times a week I was taking my IBS medicine. It takes 21 days to form a habit that your body can recognize. I had to go through the pains of getting better before I actually got better. So for people that want to give up on changing their habits of emotional overeating or undereating, it is going to take time to form that habit and to see the results. It is important to understand that undereating does not mean it's just for skinny people. Undereating can cause weight gain because it slows your metabolism. You have to stay the course and you have to keep going. So if you are someone that is potentially overweight and eats 1 time a day, it could be because you're undereating. So my advice to anyone who may be an emotional undereater is to think about your eating habits. Think about how often you're eating each time a day, what you're eating each time a day, and what's in it. Secondly, find a way to woo-saw on yourself. You gotta stay the course and really get into your mind about, I know I'm doing things that aren't great for me, so I gotta do something to get better. And before you think I'm a mess, try thinking about, why am I under eating? And what can I do to make better choices for my health? So under eating is not just about people starving themselves. It is very similar to overeating, and it can mean that you're dealing with something that you have to look further into. Mine was my IBS. I was tired of it. And my infertility. I was tired of it. And the two things just happened to be the perfect storm. And I was only eating one time a day. Whatever your reasoning is, be nice to yourself. Give yourself grace. You are a human, and it is going to take time to get to a place where you feel comfortable to say to yourself, self, and you have to say that to yourself, self, I have got to change because I cannot do this to myself anymore. And really mean it and own it and be fucking proud about it. Own that you're really willing to stand up for yourself and say, I think that I may be needing to do better for me. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to ask me. I'm super, super happy to talk. Thank you so much always for signing on. Post any comments, questions, or likes. If you didn't catch the overeating video yesterday, pop on over to Life with Shannon and catch the replay. As always, be easy. Have a fantastic day. Do good things. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye, guys.